This episode is sponsored by Patreon and Subscribe Star. If you join today, you're going to get not only the long paint of today's video, and of course every video that I make from now on, but also this month's exclusive video stars the Canker Sisters and the concept of naughty, inappropriate touching, which is a topic I really can't say here on YouTube, so definitely check that out. And without further ado, let's get on with the video. What's good, people? Agent Juice reporting for duty. Venture Brothers is great. I've said it before in a previous video, and I'll say it here again. It is one of the best adult animated TV shows I have ever seen, and as far as I'm concerned, it's Adult Swim's best show they've ever made. I particularly like it because it's very obvious that this show is a labor of love, and part of the proof of that pudding is the fact that one of the creators, Doc Hammer, went as far as to voice one of the big characters in it, Dr. Girlfriend, of course, as she is known these days as Dr. Mrs. the Monarch.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, I belong in here. I just have a deep voice.
Okay, can I ask you another one?
Yeah, sure.
What color lipstick is that?
Pink poodle. It's a matte color.
So the question becomes, can you do a cross-gender voice on a character and make the character successful? And I think we all know that the obvious answer here is yes. And with that said, that makes me comfortable with the fact that I voiced my own character, Velicia, for my own cartoon, SCHNEEEVIL, and even though right now I'm doing it as out of convenience, it comforts me knowing that this is a model that I can follow with the character Velicia. So without further ado, let us go ahead and buckle into our favorite floating hive. Let us go ahead and marry a man who is a butterfly-themed villain. Let's go ahead and put on a quite revealing outfit and be his co-commander of his henchmen. Let us go ahead and use our evil powers to smash that like button, and let's talk about the concept of Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. So as I usually do, let's go ahead and talk about the speed paint. This is once again Velicia cosplaying, and today's cosplay is Sheila. Her real name is Sheila. I am not going to say Dr. Mrs. the Monarch the whole video because that's a mouthful. So from now on, I'm just going to refer to her as Sheila. Here she is, cosplaying, specifically, of course, in the Monarch outfit that Sheila wears. It was kind of interesting to do this drawing, particularly in the angle with the plunging neckline and how that kind of works with perspectives and the anatomy at hand. But I think I was kind of able to cheat it just right, and so that's what we have for today. I found it kind of amusing that, Sheila is voiced by a dude, and of course, Velicia, out of necessity, is voiced by a dude, so, these two characters have something in common, so you can think of it like pottery, right? It rhymes, or something like that. I've always been a fan of mismatched combinations in general. One of my favorite things that something can do is when they play inappropriate music to a scene. One of the examples, like the stellar standout examples I always think of, is that torture scene in Reservoir Dogs where that dude's cutting that dude's ear off and he's dancing along to that "Stuck in the Middle with You." Like, I love that shocking mismatched nonsense. And another thing that I really like as far as shocking mismatched nonsense is when you have like these feminine characters having these like uncharacteristically masculine voices. And the funny thing is, the first time I ever experienced that, jarring mismatch in a character, what they look like versus their voice, was actually Venture Brothers. And so Sheila, the character, stands out as like one of the big stellar examples of having that mismatched voice that sounds jarring at first, but in a strange way really matches with the character. I imagine that the main reason that Sheila is voiced by Doc Hammer was merely out of convenience. There's just these two guys who thought of this zany cartoon as like, hey, how funny would it be if we made like this Hanna-Barbera parody of like a failed super scientist, and they probably thought up things really quick, and they were writing the characters, and they say like, hey, this character would be kind of a funny character idea, this Dr. Girlfriend. And they're thinking like, oh, well, we're probably gonna have to get a female voice actor. And then maybe one of them thought like, how funny would it be if she had like a man voice? And I think if I remember correctly, it was never meant for Sheila to be considered transgender, even though That's what a lot of people thought about, especially in the pilot episode that they made, where she looks a lot more masculine looking. But apparently, according to the word of God, as they say, the creators, that her looking more masculine was a animation error, and it was always meant for her to be a biological female with a uncharacteristically and scary deep voice. And I am betting that choice was made on the spot, essentially out of convenience. Another cartoon I think of using the masculine voice and a feminine character in out of convenience is actually, or maybe not convenience in this case, but it's Bob's Burgers. In the original pilot of Bob's Burgers, the character of Tina Belcher was actually supposed to be male.
But you kids know where you're supposed to be while we're gone, right? Daniel, you're on the grill.
My crotch is itchy.
Whoa. Okay.
I don't know who made the decision to make Tina female, but when they did make her female, they didn't change her voice, right? So she still sounds like a teenage boy. And, that kind of cracks me up because, again, it's that jarring juxtaposition between what a character looks like and how they sound. Which now takes us towards my character, Velicia.
So help me, Sir Brick. If you don't get off your lazy armored ass and lead my invasion, I'll blast that damned machine into a million pieces!
Velicia is not meant to have an uncharacteristically deep voice. I have mentioned many, many times, and I think in the previous Velicia cosplay video that starred Eartha Kitt, the whole point of Velicia is that she's supposed to essentially sound like Eartha Kitt. So whenever I voice her, I do my darned tootness to do a poor Eartha Kitt impersonation, but my voice can only get so high. So Velicia is not meant to be this like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if this character had an uncharacteristically masculine voice. That's kind of not her point. If I had it my way and I could just have money to burn, she would have a female sounding voice. That being said, however, I am not entirely removing the option of me staying as Velicia's voice actor the day that SCHNEEVIL becomes something much bigger. I think the main driving factor is going to be whether or not the audience is okay with me continuing to voice her, or if it just truly sounds like it would be better if I try out a, voice actress to do the voice instead. Now, if I end up staying Velicia's voice actor, I don't really see making acknowledgement to the fact that she has an uncharacteristically masculine voice, kind of the way that you would with Sheila. There are multiple scenes where it's very obvious that that Sheila's, deep smoker voice is jarring and out of place even in universe. There are multiple times where characters are taken aback by it, like, oh, Lord, is that what you sound like? Do you smoke cigarettes or eat them? However, I think I'm probably going to do it the way that Bob's Burgers does it, because in Bob's Burgers, there is never any acknowledgement that Tina's uncharacteristically masculine sounding voice is any issue. When she talks, people just assumes that is just how she sounds like. It's never, to my knowledge, it's never ever even acknowledged. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that with Velicia, because Velicia was never meant to have like the uncharacteristically mannish voice. And another example of what I'm thinking of, a character who has like a jarring voice, of course, is Butt Witch, which is another character that I had Velicia Cosplay as. And in the case of the Butt Witch, she has a meta reason for having a masculine voice. And even though none of the characters really, to my recollection, even though none of the characters in 12 Forever really point out that Butt Witch has an unusually manly sounding voice, when the characters hear Butt Witch's voice in universe, it's supposed to be like, wow, that is an unusually manly voice. And it makes sense for the character of the Butt Witch, because the Butt Witch is supposed to be the embodiment of gender confusion. So that makes sense. But here's the thing. Velicia is not a chain smoker, and she is not supposed to be some kind of metaphysical embodiment of gender identity, okay? All she is this crazy sorceress who fancies herself as empress of a planet. And so I'm going to take essentially the Tina Belcher route, should I continue to voice Velicia. And basically that's just the way her voice sounds like, and in universe it's supposed to sound feminine enough as to not really stick out. Does that kind of cut down on creativity of the character? Maybe. maybe. You know, would it be interesting if characters did acknowledge that Velicia would have an unusually deep voice? Maybe, but as of right now, I don't really see it in the cards. I am in the process of beginning to make the episode 2 of SCHNEEEVIL, and I am kind of thinking about like what season 1 is going to look like of SCHNEEEVIL, and that's not really in the cards right now. The long story short of this is that only time will tell how I really treat Velicia's voice. But if she ends up having the masculine voice, in kind of a cool way, she will join the lexicon of one of the things that I admire about watching stuff, which is that juxtaposition mismatch. She will be another one of these interesting characters who are, you know, this very obviously drawn feminine figure with this unusually masculine voice, even though in universe it's not meant to stick out that much. And that may increase her appeal in as far as people being fans of her, which, you know, I sure am not going to scoff at. It's always great when people love your work. So, but again, only time will tell as to what this is going to look like when it's finalized. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up there for today. So you people know what to do. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and tickle those sacred buttons. Go ahead and share the video and comment down below so I can hear what you have to say. Remember, subscribe, star, and Patreon if you want to see the long paint of this nonsense. And of course, this month's exclusive video where I'm going to talk about a very spicy subject. And of course, if you want to follow me elsewhere on the interwebs, go ahead and hit up my links on the screen and pay special attention to minds.com because it is one of the alternative websites. I am exploring some other alternative websites, so don't be surprised if I start adding more links up here or if I start switching the links around. But with all that said, I thank you for spending this time with me, especially when I start rambling on nonsense about my OC Donut Steel. I hope you all stick around, and until next time, adieu, seers.